All right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Father Talks podcast. I'm your host, Mike D. With me is a very special guest today, my son, Jonathan. Uh, Today's kind of a big episode. It is the father's episode, new dads. So everything's all
All
about you
right.
today, guy. So, all right, welcome to
It's
the
nice to
show.
be here. I'm excited.
All right. Yeah, me too. This is the first thing that we've done together next to Next to me coaching and you
Pretty
playing
much,
football?
yeah.
Yeah, crazy. So for those of you who don't know, my son is a new dad. Kenny is what, a week
Two
old,
weeks
week and a
old.
half old,
Yeah, two
two
weeks
weeks old.
already.
Jesus Christ.
It goes
Yeah,
fast.
yeah. I'm telling you, yeah. It is only gonna go faster from here. I'm telling you, it is. Man, I'm telling you, it's an amazing journey because like 6 months from now, you're gonna be like, oh my God, can you believe it's
Oh,
already
I
been
know.
6 months? Then in 6 years, you're gonna be like, oh God, can you believe it's been 6 years? And I'm telling you, even to today, you guys, I mean, you're already a new dad, and I'm like, damn, I remember when this was the same kid who was scaling the walls at home. Well, scaling down that
Yeah,
long hallway and shit, walk in the house, and here you are doing the Spider-Man shit, and now you're
yeah,
a dad. And that seems like it was yesterday. So now here we are already, and you're in the driver's seat now, married and
yeah.
got a
It
kid,
it happened fast. 20 years went by really
right?
quick. Like and that was being a kid.
Right.
So now having my own kid and how fast 2 weeks has gone, I can't imagine how quick the rest of my
Yeah.
life is getting ready to go.
Yeah. And the thing is that it only, once you guys decide to have another one, it's only
Oh
going to go
yeah.
faster. You know, Next thing you know, you're going to be at sporting events, you're going to be at plays, and you're going to wonder where the fuck did the week go,
Yeah.
and it seems like you had all this stuff going on and you got nothing that you actually wanted
Right.
to do done. It's all going to be kids' appointments, kids' plays, kid this, kid that. You're like, holy shit, I
Yeah.
have no social
We're
life.
spending our lucky
So,
time now while most of what he's doing is sleeping, kind of crunching in our TV
right.
shows and trying to finish all the series we started while we still have the time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because pretty soon, I mean, you're gonna have to block off the stairs. You're gonna have to lock up all the cabinets. And not because I'm a mean person, but just because it's justified. I'm hoping that he's got a little
Oh,
hyperactivity.
I can guarantee you he will have some hyperactivity.
Yeah, yeah.
He's already
He's
like that. If he's not sleeping, he's all over the place, swimming through the air like he's in a
right.
pool.
It's crazy though because like is the fact that he only sleeps when there's
Yeah.
noise
Yeah,
is
he'll
hilarious.
sleep in the quiet, but we
Because
always
you
have something going on because if it's quiet, he'll start to move
right,
around and he'll be tussling and fussing about. And then as
yeah,
soon as you like put him in the car and start driving, knocks him out. Or if you put on like a movie and it can
yeah,
be loud, like we don't turn the volume down for anything, and still
right,
he's like sleeping so calm.
yeah, but it's a good thing. I mean, if you remember, you like your sister, McKenna, she is super nervous. Like noise just
Yeah,
rattles her to death. You know, Even it's worse when you see her driving because anything out of the unusual, she's like, but yeah, she was when she was little, everything was always quiet and everything, which is a terrible move,
yeah,
for new parents because that kid now, when that kid gets older, it has to be quiet
yeah.
all the freaking time, and it's the worst thing. So, but she is literally the only one in the family who's ever been where like where noise
Right.
bothers them. The rest of us could sleep through a
hmm
freight train.
Surprise
And
appearance from my cat. He's very nosy.
yeah, yeah. He was like, "Hey, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing?" You got the bros are
Yeah.
hanging out. So, all right. So I think for me, what it takes to like, so first topic, I want to talk about is like what it takes to be a good father. And I can tell you right now, this has been, you know, with nine of you guys, this has been a learning process. And I don't think there's any one way or like one absolute right way to do everything because everything is always, every kid is
Yeah.
so different. Like you and Trenton, you guys are similar. You and Corday, super similar, but you guys have your own unique quirks, you know. So parenting has to be tailored around each kid.
Right.
So if I can say anything, you're going to be a different dad to Kenny than you are to your next kid,
Mhm.
just primarily because it's always personality difference. So what might work with Kenny won't work with your
Yeah.
next kid. And it's just a fact. Now, granted, we have a blended family, so personality differences are, just it's just part of it, because you have a different parent, you're being raised by one biological parent, one step parent, then you got another biological parent on the other side. And so personality difference is, I mean, we clashed in the beginning, but you were what,
Yeah.
3, 4, so you were already kind of, it was just you were so used to it being you and your mom, and here I am, I'm interfering, telling you, hey, don't do this, don't
Yeah.
do that. You're like, I don't have to listen to you. You're not my dad. I'm like, well, guess what? I'm gonna marry your mom. I'm gonna be your dad. So, ha
Yeah.
ha, buddy.
Perspective definitely
No,
changes as I've gotten older. Because, like, I can't even remember those
yeah,
times. I can't even, like, picture a time in my life where I didn't just call you dad anymore.
right. And it was funny because, like, when your mom and I first started dating and whatnot, coming over to your grandparents' house, you guys had the basement and everything. You had that little
Hmm.
side room, and so when every time I would come over, we would just all hang
Yeah.
out in the basement. So me and your mom would chill, watch TV. You would be upstairs with your grandparents, or like even though like, I remember the first time that I sat with you while your mom was at work. You were actually
Yeah.
sick that time. So it was super. It was weird because like it was the first time that like we talked or like things
Hmm.
clicked. Like you act well. Put it plain simple. It was the first time you actually listened to shit I had to say. But it was because you were sick. So, hey, I'll take a
Yeah.
win where I can get it. Um, I'll say the other thing, man, is just being present. It's the most important thing you can do as a dad is just to be present. Even if, I mean, again, some of the things that you guys have taken an interest in haven't been particular things that I gave a shit about. But being present, was always important. At least me being able to, for us to be able to talk, for, just to learn about you guys, being present in everything that you did or whatever you had to talk about, you know, was, I think it helped our relationships. And granted, thank God for your mom being the mediator, because for me, like every time I get frustrated with something, I'm like, fuck it. I want to take my
Yeah.
toys and go home. So learning to, just be present with everything, is super helpful. Now, so if I can tell you, be present. Your kid he may he may want to join
Yeah.
band and not want to do sports, and that's going to be a hard pill to
Yeah.
swallow. Because especially us being
Hmm.
sports guys, to not have a kid that loves sports
Oh,
is going
yeah.
to be a killer. You know, and we've only got one in this family, so so and dance is not my thing, but I'm learning all this dance terminology and whatnot because hey, I want the relationship to
Yeah.
still be good as much as
Yeah.
I hate dance.
Yeah. We
So
had that discussion recently about Kenny, just about like I was like, oh man, as soon as he turns 3, I'm gonna put him in flag football so he can get started right away because I'm like trying everything I can to make sure he gets into that. But we already said, who knows? Maybe he's not gonna want to. Maybe he's gonna want to do art or something, and we're just gonna let him try
yeah,
everything. And as long as he commits to it,
yeah,
I'm happy. As long as he's doing some sort of physical activity and something, I'm happy.
right. Yeah, and that's the other thing, man. You know what? It's just that keeping your kids involved in something. You guys were, I can't remember a time where you guys weren't like always involved in something. It went from football to basketball to track, or I mean, or something. I mean, you at an early age. I mean, you started with the long
Hmm.
distance running. You did that 5K. You were what,
Yeah.
8 or 9? But I mean, you and your brother, you guys were always involved in something. So we're pretty fortunate there. Even the girls, you know, it went from uh, they soccer, they did cheer for like 5 freaking minutes, but Keegan was
Yeah.
in baseball. She was softball for a while. But everybody's always stayed
Yeah.
involved in something. Janae, she's probably the one that got shortchanged the most though, because with me being in the
Hmm.
military, when we got stationed at Fort Campbell, we I missed a lot of stuff because they were
Yeah.
back in Michigan, before she came to live with us. So, and when she came to live with us, she really didn't do
Yeah.
any of that stuff. So, um, but again, I mean, you've been pretty fortunate, man. You've had a lot of good male role models in your life, especially like with your grandfather and that. You know,
Absolutely.
just just you've had a lot of good examples of staying engaged, being involved and whatnot. So I mean, if I can say anything, hey, you've got a good foundation to work with. Things that you will want to do with your own kid, things that you don't want to do with your own kid. You know, so I mean, just any advice I can give from the dad perspective, definitely do what you feel is best for your
Yeah.
child. No matter what I say, no matter what your other dad says, you know, you and Jacqueline have to sit down and decide, hey, this is going to be the best approach for our kid. We've gotten all this great advice, but it's just advice. It's not the way. It doesn't have to be, hey, your parent. Well, oh well, we told you to do this. Okay, well, that's not the approach that me and my
Yeah.
wife decided. We decided this is going to be best for our kid, you know, and you know what, breaking the old cycles. So for me, it was important for me to break the cycle of, not expressing emotion, because that's how I grew up. My parents are older, Southern people, so kids are seen and
Right.
not heard, so we didn't talk about feelings a lot. Like, my parents weren't huggers, they were providers. And while that's great and everything, I know now as an adult that kids need more than that. They need the occasional hug for no reason, or, just to, I mean, for me, I express myself by bullying you guys, you know, just running through the house, just torturing everybody in the
Yeah.
house, But, your grandfather was the same, is probably singly the most annoying person on the planet. And once he knows that he's annoying you,
Oh
it
yeah.
only gets worse,
Absolutely.
So, well, and again, my dad's, and you and I are in a similar situation, I'm your stepdad, he's my stepdad, you know, and for the longest, much longer than you and I, but I hated that man for the longest and it wasn't until I had my own kids that I understood what he was
Yeah.
trying to teach me. So um, for you, we developed a better relationship, I think, sooner because I was able to be more involved with things that, with coaching, and that with, I was able to go to more sporting events and do things, taking more active
Yeah.
part. Whereas with my dad, he traveled a lot because being in the military, my parents, it was better for my parents to. So my dad went to Germany for 2 years. We stayed stateside because my parents didn't want to
Right.
move us. So fortunately for you, we only got separated the one time while I was in
Yes.
Afghanistan. Oh, and but my dad was, he was gone quite a bit into his out, like even for a while he was a
Yeah.
recruiter, you know, and that took up just, I mean, literally every damn day, even she even worked some weekends, whatnot. So our relationship suffered just because he
Hmm.
worked so much that both of my parents worked so much we didn't see a lot of them, because they were always at work. They didn't get to show up to a lot of our events because they were
Right.
always at work. So it is what it is. I just that was for me. That was a cycle that I wanted to break. I wanted to be there for everything that you guys did as often as possible, and I wanted to make sure that you know I I expressed myself differently than my parents did. So like again, your mom made sure that we never leave the house without telling each other we love each other. We all just and everybody we bring into our family. It's kind of that
Oh,
way.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
we make it a point to always say love you before we leave, get off the phone, even if it's
yeah,
just through text message, on break from work and you just send a
yeah,
text and you're about to be done your break. Hey, love you. I'll talk to you later. That's something that stuck
yeah.
with us is always you never know when the last one is going to be, so say it every time.
Exactly, exactly. And it was kind of foreign language for me. Always expressing all this damn emotion because I just didn't grow up that way. So it was and not telling you guys that I love you or giving you hugs and things like that, but just the being able to constantly remind you guys that, hey, just because I yell at you doesn't mean that I
Yeah.
don't love you. Yeah. So, and I think it's super important to break old cycles like that, especially for me, because you guys, I mean, firsthand, I'm not a particularly expressive
Hmm.
person, never have been, but learning to communicate certain things with you guys has been important. I think it's been a huge breakthrough for our relationships and shit, because being able to talk, or you guys knowing that, or at least you guys understanding that if I'm in a mood, that mood isn't necessarily about
Yes.
you. So with my time in the military, my deployment and all that thing, a lot of things have happened to me to change my perspective on things and to change, how I am in general. And I'm fortunate that, you know, we were able to work through things, whereas, a lot of guys weren't, especially coming back from deployment. And I mean, something you may not realize that, you know, when I deployed, there were like 9 families, 9 married couples when
Yeah.
I deployed. When I Within the first 6 months to a year after my deployment, there's only 3 couples that are still
Wow.
together out of that entire group of married
Hmm.
couples and whatnot. So there's only 3 that are still together, and that's Salcedo, Saran, and me and
Yeah.
Jerome. That's it. Out of everybody else is
Yeah.
divorced. All in figure, we were the only blended
Yeah.
family. You know, the other groups, the other families, original families and everything, but it's the communication. It's like me. If I hadn't learned how to communicate my issues, I think we would all be in a different situation
Yeah.
right now. And I think because of that, that's the same thing with a lot of the other families. They just they didn't the communication
Yeah.
wasn't there, and so that the relationship suffered, plain and simple. You know, um, shit. What was else? I can tell you the other thing is that hurdles you do not want to run into as a dad, and this is something that I wish I had learned sooner. Is putting responsibility on the other
Right.
parent, because I'm the disciplinarian in our
Yes.
family, and I think that's a big that caused a lot of problems because that's how everybody saw me. So anytime something happened, like, oh shit, we got to deal with that. Oh shit, dad's gonna find out, you know. And it got to the point where like I was disciplining everybody's
Yeah.
fucking kids. So if you came over to our house and you were cutting up, I'm like, hey, we're gonna tell Coach Mike that you got in trouble today, you
Hmm.
know. And I'm like the judge, jury, and executioner for everybody's kids and whatnot. And it's cool, but at the same time, that's not the only
Right.
person I am. And nobody wants to be like, oh my God, here, fuck man, here comes your dad. Now everybody's
Hmm.
clamming up, nobody's telling jokes and shit anymore because they
Yeah.
don't want to get in trouble. Like, I don't want to be that guy, and again, it took me a long time, like even now, when there's some shit that needs to be told, you guys will tell your mom, so it
Yeah.
gets told to me. You're like, I got to tell you something, and I don't want you to be mad. The kids wanted me to tell you. I'm like, oh, fuck, man. And usually it's like, who's pregnant, who's on drugs. And those are usually the only 2 things that I'm always
Yeah.
concerned about, but it's never any of those things. I'm like, fuck, man, why am I getting myself all worked up? It's never
Yeah.
any of that stuff.
I think that's
So,
something though now, like
um,
as an adult, I appreciate it. Because as a kid, yeah, it's definitely like, oh man, here comes dad. You're in trouble. You're scared. You're worried about what's gonna happen. But now, like as an adult, I appreciate that we had that because now I have discipline as an adult because
right,
having that male figure that kind of corrected the bad actions. Not to say that like everything we did was so horrible or going to change our lives, but
yeah,
having that structure of like, okay, if you did something wrong, knowing that there was consequences for your actions has really changed who I am as an adult, and I appreciate that because I see other people like the same age as me just without that maturity because it didn't have that
right,
kind of male role model to kind of set things like, if you mess up, there's going to be a consequence. Like, there's no yelling at your parents or getting away with doing the wrong things. So now as an adult, I still, even though there's nobody that's going to tell me what I can and can't do, I mean, outside of my
Right.
wife, but there is no person that's going to be like, oh, you did this, you're in trouble now. I still hold what I learned as a kid now in the back of my mind is like, everything you do has real life consequences. And so now I have kind
Right.
of like a deeper understanding of just how to act right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's like, okay, so for instance, using it as an example, like I'm 52 years old. Okay. I don't have to listen to shit my mom says. But when I'm in my parents' home, I respect my parents' house and I do things yet the way my parents would expect me to do them. So like even something as simple as
Yeah.
folding towels. Last time I was down visiting my dad and whatnot, he was folding laundry while I'm sitting there folding laundry. So we're talking. I'm folding. I grab the towels. He was like, "Put my towels in." I'm like, "You don't want no help?" He's like, "You don't know how to fold towels?" I'm like, "I fold towels how you taught me how to
Hmm.
fold them." I fold his fucking towels up. He was like, "That's not right. That side's uneven. Like you
Yeah.
just need something to complain about. I did it right,
Yeah.
and you're mad. So because you don't have nothing to complain about, now you
Yeah.
just want to be mad. So, but he'll and your grandfather, he'll never admit to like, hey, he
Yeah.
appreciates this. Like even when I call, not call him just to say hi, hey, Dad, I was thinking about you, yada yada yada. He's always got to turn it into something like, what do you want? You're not being nice because you just being
Yeah.
nice. What do you want? I'm like, I'd never call you for anything. Okay. I'm one of your only kids who calls you just to see
Oh
what's
yeah.
up. Yeah. But he hates it. Anything kind or sweet and innocent, you know what? He yeah, he cannot it's like his soul cannot take
Yeah.
kindness or at least anything kind directed directly to him or like appreciation
Hmm.
in any way. Like, bro, just accept a fucking compliment. Okay, it's a compliment. You're not gonna die. I swear to God. So, um, I know I talked about parenting advice before. Listen, everything is not everything is not etched in stone.
Yes.
So no matter what we say, no matter what we do, everything can be changed. You can read 1,000 books that will tell you, hey, this is the best way to rear a kid, to raise a kid. Some people will say, hey, you shouldn't spank your kids. Other people say timeouts work. That's horseshit. All of it is horseshit. Okay. Because whereas you you were a kid who didn't like getting in trouble. Okay. So yelling at
Yeah.
you was enough. A combination of yelling at you and talking to you is all you needed. Whereas your brother, we could put him in timeout. He would be sitting in the corner, pulling the fabric out of the fucking
Yeah.
carpet and whatnot. And timeout did absolutely nothing for him. But as soon as he got out of timeout, he went back to doing whatever the hell he was doing before. So it didn't phase him at all. And then occasionally, for you know, you needed you. He was one of them people that you had to get to a fucking boxing match with because he nothing talking to him didn't matter. You know, a quick punch in the chest. Hey, that was the
Yeah.
corrective action for him. And it's like, oh my God, why do I always have to be an asshole to get what I need out of you? But then the rest of you guys were like, hey, it was so simple. It was like, hey, don't do that. I'm like, all right, I
Yeah.
won't do it anymore. Your brother was always a person. The stove could say, hot, do not touch. And he is going to touch the fucking stove because maybe the
Yeah.
sign's wrong. Just all the fucking time. And Trenton was a combination of the two of you guys. You know, on occasion I would have to fuck him up.
Hmm.
But that would be enough where he wouldn't repeat that same behavior. He would just do
Yeah.
something else. Like, all right, you know what? I got in trouble for this one. Let's see if I can do
Yeah.
this shit and not get in trouble. Or like he loved seeing you guys get in
Oh
trouble.
yeah. Absolutely.
So like the swearing thing when your mom first introduced free
Yeah.
soap. Okay, he got caught swearing. She couldn't find a bar of soap. She gave him a tiny pinch of
Hmm.
dish soap. He hated that. The minute you guys swore, what did he do? Like, hey, he came to your mom with a bottle of soap, talking about, hey, Jonathan and Corday were swearing. Like, bro, nothing like
Right.
snitching you guys out. You know. Um, but again, man, if I again, it has been being a dad has been the greatest thing to ever happen to me. Like next to getting married, being a dad is probably like, what would I have done if I never became a dad? I would probably be dead or in prison, and that's not even a joke. It's not even a joke. Just because the way I was headed, I didn't. I moved out of my parents' house when I was six. I was 15, getting ready to turn 16, and I moved home one time in my entire life. I was home for like I wasn't even home for a month, and that was when your oldest sister was born, and we were there for 2.5, 3 weeks, and I've been on my
Yeah.
own ever since. And so I say that to say that you guys, I love being a dad. It again, like your mom and I have talked about fostering. People are like, you guys are fucking crazy. You guys have done all this, but now that I've got a grandson, but maybe I can put the brakes on fostering and be away
Yeah.
for a little while. Because this way, hey, I can spoil my grandkid and then I can just get
Mm-hmm.
him back. Like, hey, he's all hopped up on Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Here you go. Yes.
Yeah,
Good
and
night.
this is just the first one, right? Like I think we're all at that age now.
Yeah.
We're all in those relationships where like this is the snowball because now
Yeah.
that he's here and everybody's gonna start seeing him and being around him, it's just gonna be like one after another now.
Exactly, exactly. We were like, because we got that family group
Hmm.
chat and everything, and everybody's in there was like, okay, who's next? We're like, wait, Kenny's been here for 5 minutes. Shit. So your sisters are pointing fingers like, who's gonna be next? Honestly, it's gonna be. I think it's a toss up between
I think
him
it's
and
gonna be
Kenny.
Corday and Sabrina. Uh-huh.
You think so?
Especially now that they're getting their own
See,
place because Sabrina's called us or texted us every single day since he's been born to ask about him and like
oh
FaceTiming. And then
shit.
Corday seen him and said,
Okay.
well, maybe we should have kids. Maybe we don't need to wait any longer.
Yeah, but the thing is that everybody is trying to
Hmm.
plan it out, and I'm gonna tell you right now, there is
Oh
no
no,
plan here.
absolutely not.
Okay, even even if you guys, let's say, if all you guys were just financially set, you know, it's
Yeah.
not gonna matter. It's never gonna matter. You're never gonna be completely prepared for being a
Oh
parent.
no, absolutely not.
You know, of course, people start calling
Yeah.
in the middle of this, but it's all good. But it's on silent this time. And I've waited for this video for your mom to be out of town. Well, not out of town. She's out getting
Yeah.
nails done. I waited for her to be gone because the last time I tried to do this, she kept knocking on the door. Oh, you're still recording? I'm still in here. So I think I need to get some of those like those soundproof curtains and
Yeah.
everything too. Just it'll be once you see the curtains are closed, everybody at least knows that hey, we're
Right.
recording that. Let me keep the voice down.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's vacuuming and all that other crap the minute
Yeah.
we start recording. So, but I don't know, man. So, when are you guys thinking about doing this again?
Listen, we definitely want to do it again, but we need a couple years because I'm gonna need at least a
Right.
year or two of sleeping through the night. And I know I'm still not gonna get that for another at least year, so it might be a year or two.
Good luck with that, though. Good luck with that. You know, um, and I know this is a sensitive subject, but I wanted to bring up, listen, how proud I am of you guys. I mean, for our listeners and everything, you know, uh, so my son, they lost their first baby at 7 months, and it was hard for our family and everything because, and especially for me, in the sense that being on the outside looking in, because I'm not a, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not a crier, So my first gut instinct is to figure out how I can fix this, how I can make things better for you guys and whatnot. But only time could do
Right.
that. So like, whereas your mom wants to, everybody wants to get together and have all these emotional moments. And for me, that is like, it's like nails on a chalkboard. And it's like, oh my God, all these fucking feelings and, all these people crying and shit. I'm gonna go sit over here by myself, and let you guys sort this out. And when you need me, just call me. I'll be here, you know? So, but, for you and Jacqueline, I just want you guys, and again, I wrote her that letter the other
Hmm.
day, and it's amazing what you guys have done, you know, the two of you going through such a hardship and coming out the other side better because a lot
Yeah.
of people don't. Your mom and I were fortunate. but you guys, communication. I say most of you guys, most people your age don't have the level of communication skills that you guys do. And here's the other thing: never being in any real long term relationships,
Hmm.
either one of you guys, for you guys to be doing as well as you do, and to overcome something the way you guys did, you know, that is, I mean, it's pretty fucking amazing, and it's a rarity, especially at your age. You guys are high school sweethearts to make it through all that you have, and now you got this brand new baby, and everything's
Yeah.
cool.
I think
I mean,
growing together definitely helped us because when we first started dating, we were both very young, very immature, and we were very probably completely different people than we are now, to be completely honest. But we,
oh yeah, that's a fact. Jacqueline's way different than she was
oh,
when we
absolutely.
first when she first came into
Yeah.
the family now.
And we've definitely both
So
grown and being able to kind of grow together, we've been able to kind of help each other where we need the help because it's always harder to grow because you can't see your own flaws. But when you have somebody else that can help you kind of talk through what's going on and help one another kind of build each other up, it made that process so much easier. And I think now as adults because we know where each other struggles, it's been a lot easier to pick one another up because I know what she needs help with and she knows what I need help with. So when we're going through hard times, it's a lot easier to be there for one another because we weren't established adults when we started dating. We didn't already have really our own lives before we started dating. Really, the life we have now is everything we have we've built together. We didn't bring our own things into the relationship. Everything we have now is things we've earned together as a couple, and that's really changed kind of our perspective on things.
and I mean, you guys are fortunate, you know, and like you said, you know what, you've had your own struggles, but I think what you may not be giving yourselves credit for is being able to, I don't know if it's necessarily being criticized by somebody else, but having somebody else who can point out your faults and you accepting that and not being
Yes.
offended. And that was a hard thing for me, is having somebody to say, hey, you need to be better at this because it will help the relationship with you and your kids, or me and you. Being having for me, a terrible thing for me is having to fucking say
Hmm.
I'm sorry. Well, that shit's the worst. I'm like, fuck. You know, you know what? They're one up on me because I had to apologize. You know, but being able to accept my own flaws, hey, I'm not perfect, if people can believe that, but, you know, being able to admit those things and saying, all right, I need to try to approach things a different way, I think has made me, a better
Hmm.
dad, and a better human being in general, because I can walk away from a situation, assess that, hey, you know what, this wasn't cool. You were kind of being an asshole and you need to fix it. So those things, have made me a better person. And you guys, I mean, you guys' relationship is something that, I mean, honestly, you guys could go into your own business, help other young couples out because, I mean, you laugh, but seriously, a lot of the guys, even, okay, our struggles are different, yes, but the approach on how we handle things, or, with getting through those things, I mean, all boils down to communication. I mean, I would say for a young couple, for as young as you guys have got the communication game down, you know, and being able, I mean, like being able to express yourselves the way that you do. Couples who can do that, they've been together 20 fucking years,
Hmm.
you know. And so for you guys to have established that in such a short time, you know, doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
I can tell you, a ton of couples that have been together a quarter of the time that you guys have been, and they haven't, they're on their way out now just because they
Yeah.
can't talk. Yeah. I mean, I look at your grandparents, you know, they were, even Aunt
Yeah.
Barb and Uncle Mark, you know, those are all, examples of, you know, good relationships where communication is the biggest thing. My parents, they were, I didn't find that they were good communicators. At least I didn't see it in
Hmm.
front of us. but I was always of the mindset with my parents. My parents did not argue in front of
Yeah.
us. In disagreement about us, they handled that
Yeah.
shit in private. So it was never them arguing about the two of us, about me and my brother, about our behavior or this, that, and the thing. But the other thing, they always had those conversations in
Right.
private. You know, Kids couldn't, put one against the other. So like if my mom said no for something, my dad was like, "What the fuck are you asking me for? Your
Yeah.
mother already said no." So and that was one of the things that I took with me as a parent, that if your mother told you guys not to do some shit and you did it, now you got to
Right.
deal with me. Or don't come ask me if your mother already
Yeah.
told you that. So, but man, like I told Jacqueline, I'm excited, man. I'm really excited for what's coming next for you guys, because again, it can only get better
Oh,
from here.
yes.
You know, Jacqueline, she's new to
Hmm.
having a big family, and me and mom just found out, a couple months ago for her birthday, that nobody had ever sang happy
Yeah.
birthday to her before. That Yeah, I wish that I had known
Hmm.
that ahead of time, because we'd have turned this into like a Broadway stage show. We'd have made her sit in the front yard and brought the neighbors and got everybody to come out and sing happy birthday to her. Just anything to make her super
Hmm.
uncomfortable, you know. But the things that I take for granted, or most people take for granted, you know, that was a huge
Yeah.
deal for her. You know, we found out after the fact that she had never had a regular
Yeah.
birthday party, or people had never sang happy birthday to her, you know. So it made me again realize just how amazing, I've got it, and how amazing, when I think about the things that I couldn't do for you guys, you know, somebody
Yeah.
had it worse, you know, something as simple as somebody a happy birthday
Hmm.
song. Yeah. So, but um, so we are we're gonna cut it. We're gonna end it there, just because um, I'm running out of influential, aspiring
Yeah.
dad stuff to say, and I don't want to say any. This is my first episode back in almost 2 years. I don't want to say anything to get me
Fair
canceled.
enough.
So, but hey, listen, man, we got to do this more
Absolutely.
often. Especially as Kenny gets bigger, and anything that I can do to help. We are still working on vacation plans
Yep.
for Christmas, man. Um, but other than that, man, listen, it's been awesome. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. I love
I
you.
love you too.
Okay. All right. We'll do this again. Hopefully next
Absolutely.
week.
You
All
too.
right, man. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Bye. In session.